Men.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at Sanga Courts on the show that brings your Tuesday night to life. There's nothing like this. Why? Because we have conversations that a lot of people don't want to have, but want to hear. So we're doing it for you. We're doing the heavy lifting, so you need to just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Don't forget, this is your show, so we want to hear from you. Our hashtag is hashtag NTV MEN. Follow us on X. I struggle calling it X. I still call it Twitter. That's NTV MEN _UG. We'll get into a conversation. It doesn't matter what you have to say, whether positive or negative. Let's talk about it. Now, tonight, we are going to delve into a very sensitive topic. It is about the issue of inheritance, especially with reference to the boy child. Now, of recent, in a lot of the media that's been going around, there are certain families that are grappling with issues of inheritance where the matriarch dies or the patriarch dies, and all of a sudden there's a sense of entitlement to what has remained. I will not let you know what my feelings are right now until after, but Faisal, we'll start with you. Do you think or do you feel that, as you're an only boy, aren't you?
Yeah, for my mom, yeah.
Yeah. So should you be entitled to your mom's fortune? God forbid, when she passes away.
Not even a how are you, how was, the
weekend. No, we just straight into it.
Okay, so I might be speaking from a privileged point of view because I am in that situation where I don't really need to look out for anyone's inheritance. I've just literally grown up most of the time by myself. I've been taught how to make money by myself. So you've taken me back to a time when my dad was a very rich man. I remember that during my O-level. He had a very big aloe vera farm, and I used to sit there and be like, oh man. I used to tell my mom, I don't think we'll be broke people.
My God.
Yeah. And my mom would just look at me and laugh, and she's like, yeah, you'll learn. Like when you grow up, you'll see what it is, yeah? So even while growing up, she'd tell me, you need to drop that mentality. You get, like, you're not your dad's only child. There's nothing like you're growing up looking towards to what your father's been earning. You're going to inherit all these things. No, there are very many people. He has very many dependents. He's already taking care of very many people. So remove that thought in your head that you'll ever inherit anything. Mm-hmm. So I've grown up with that mentality of, man, if any of my parents passed away right now, inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un, I don't think the first thing I think about is what am I going to inherit, what am I going to take over. Yeah. But then I said, I might be speaking from a privileged point of view because there are other people out there who are broke because the economy is harsh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for them, they feel like they've had a lot of contribution in their parents' life. Probably when the company was starting up, those are the people who are working there for free. You know how family labor is. They call you.
It's not really for free work, because you're eating, you're sleeping,
Yeah, now me, that's an experience I've never had. I can't say I've worked with my dad on any of his projects. Mm-hmm. So I don't even feel like I deserve to be there calling out for any of his money because I didn't help him anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for my last point, there are just some things I've come to understand that as a man, even if you inherit the world, there are just some things, some values that take time for you to figure out. And we keep thinking of inheritance as if it's a safety net, like it's going to solve all your problems. But I mean, according to the news right now, inheritance is the beginning of every family's problem.
Yeah. All right, great stuff. Felicity, good to have you here.
Thank you.
Every girl's dream is to marry a rich prince. Okay.
No lie detected.
Yes. So, and the thinking is all your problems will be solved. Isn't it more of a problem to get a guy who has this fortune that has been dumped on him than the one who has worked for it and you've worked with him to be able to get to where you need to go?
Well, I think I'll try to explain two ways. Mm-hmm. First of all, I think it's an obligation. Inheritance. As a parent, an obligation. Because if you want to give your child a head start in life, leave your inheritance for him. I mean, who are you going to leave it for? You want to leave it to like the company partners and everybody who's not your bloodline to split your net worth. So I think it's an obligation as a parent to leave it. If you want to carry on your legacy, leave your inheritance.
What if your child's a
But
fool?
the how,
Child's a fool, you're a fool.
it's the how. What you do, it's teach him how to fish. By the time he actually is taking on the inheritance, he knows how to fish. Instead of handing him, I'll give an example. I know you don't like the guy, but Donald Trump,
Yes.
his dad. The history of it was his dad actually taught him how to fish. Like he went through all the tough kind of training. By the time he could build his own legacy from his dad's money, that gave him a head start. So I believe the inheritance should be given. Secondly, the guy that you're kind of saying that needs to work his way to the top, like for how long? Like that takes so long. And we are in a time where there's like zero patience.
Yeah.
There's zero patience, utterly zero patience. Everyone's taking a shortcut. I mean, people in my generation. The girls are going for the wealthier men who worked and are now in their 40s and now have made money.
And OnlyFans.
And by the way, OnlyFans also has like a category for feet, so there's a safe space there. There's a safe space, like you can post your feet, no one will ever know. Just putting it out there.
Wow.
Then
I know which fit to look for.
I know those feet.
you did. Okay. Then the men are actually doing the same. The boys are doing the same.
OnlyFans?
No. They're marrying.
What's your obsession?
No.
They're going for women who are older or already established women because there's something that has happened. There's an empowerment that happened with the girl child. The boy child was forgotten. So you're having certain things like the certain boys that you're dealing with, and you're supposed to be dealing with a man and he's a boy because he wasn't taught how to fish. So I feel like if there is a chance for an inheritance and if it exists, your obligation as a parent, as a mom, as a dad, to carry on the family legacy is to leave the inheritance.
Okay. I have a big problem with that, but I will come back to you. Jalu,
Thank you.
help me out
Thank
here.
you for this, I cannot come after Chris.
What do you mean?
It's always very important. It's very important that you do that.
Last
But
time-
ask the question again. I feel like,
Because you see, the thing is, there's a sense of entitlement in the air, where, especially from the boy child, where there's the expectation that you are, by default, meant to inherit your parents' property and wealth and everything they've worked for. Now, Felicity is advancing a certain point of view, where then what was the point of doing it all along?
Yeah.
But you see, my thinking, and that's just my thinking, is I am working for me. It is mine. What I do with it, whether I leave it to my children or not, it's got nothing to do with them. If I do, I've done them a favor. Okay. If I decide not to, and I probably have my reasons. I'll give you a simple example. Without naming names, there's a certain estate here in Uganda worth $260 million. That's a lot of money anywhere in the world. The old man did not give it to his children.
That's selfish.
He knew why he didn't. Okay? So then he dies, all of a sudden everybody's jumping up and down. We are trying to get into court, so everybody wants to take a piece of it. It just doesn't make sense.
So I will start my rebuttal with asking, are you married?
Yes.
Of course.
Married. So the idea behind marriage is what? What is the end goal?
Pass down wealth.
To pass down what?
The end. Children are a big priority. A big priority. I actually believe that the idea behind marriage is society and your children. Understand? So this whole thing that, and I loved what Felicity said, head start. Like, why are you building this world? For who? What is the end game? Like, who are you working for at the end of the day? You're working to...
I asked her a question which she didn't answer. What if your children are fools?
No, if your children are fools, then you're a fool. If your children are fools, then you're a fool. You need to raise
teach them
these
how to
children
fish.
to fish. The analogy that she used. You need to teach these children how to inherit this world.
Yeah.
But in regard to you saying that, you asking this question, should it be, there's a question you asked, should it be
Basically, a default setting.
a default set? I think you should expect it.
So when when I'm there working, at the back of my mind, I'm saying I'm slaving away for my children.
Yeah.
I'm slaving away for a mini.
Yeah, for your
It
children.
should be
For me,
you.
this kind of attitude.
No, it should be. It shouldn't be for you at the end of the day. If you raise your kids properly, with discipline and understanding what you're doing, then it shouldn't be hard for you to have these conversations. You should be very intentional. And I know people who start having this conversation as early as when they are alive. When they start telling people, their kids, that, you know what, you will inherit this. I'm leaving you this. So by the time he's far gone, there are no issues.
Jello, there's this argument that if you've actually raised your kids that well, then they don't even need the inheritance.
No, I was coming to that.
Yeah,
You see,
because-
and Chris, I think you need to help me out here. I'll piggyback off what Bill Gates said. There was an interview I watched of him, and he was being asked about the same thing about inheritance. And he said his children are earmarked to inherit $10 million each. And the interviewer was lost. So you wonder, by then he was the wealthiest man in the world. And $10 million to him is
Pocket change.
yes, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And he said the reason why he's done that is if they cannot make money with the name they have, then it doesn't matter how much he leaves them, it won't go anywhere.
But by the mere fact that they already have that name, that in itself is inheritance.
But
Jackie
now
Chan.
we are speaking the same.
It's not guaranteed.
Now you are speaking the same language.
It's not just.
It's not just
like
the name.
the tangible things.
Yes.
Inheritance is spiritual, and I know the guy will explain it.
The guy with the spirit.
Inheritance is what you just the example that you gave. You having my name is actually inheritance. Like if I raised you and people know that I was a man of standard, that is inheritance also to a certain degree.
Now, we need to jump into a break, and when we come back, Chris, I'd want to start with you, because in the words of Faisal, you're the man with a spirit. I don't know what the rest of us have, but something to chew on, because you see, I think one of the things which we need to be very careful of is the description of basically a good parent is the one who leaves their children money. So it means if I do not have money to leave to my children, then it means I'm a useless guy. Technically, that's what Felicity has said. Now, we are here at Sangha Courts having a discussion about inheritance, especially with reference to the firstborn boy child. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
Men. Men.
Welcome back from the break. We are here at Sangha Courts talking about inheritance. It has its pros and its cons, but how do we manage it? My name is Peter Igaga, and the man with a spirit, as Faisal called it.
Well,
Help me out here.
I won't deny the spirit of God in my life. I won't. I've just been listening in to some of our conversation, and I think that maybe it would help definition-wise for us to separate heritage from inheritance. Mm-hmm. Because name, a good name, the Bible says a good name is to be treasured more than silver and gold. One of the inheritances, quote unquote, but the heritage we get from our fathers and from people who provide us cover is a name. It's a heritage, So when you drop a certain name, it opens doors for you.
Yeah, true.
All right. So there is that. So that's why it's important that we live a life of good standing. There's places where, there's a time I was in a meeting in the Ministry of Finance, and we're having conversations, and then I introduced myself. We're presenting something. I introduced myself, and I used my father's name. and the then Minister of Finance knew my father. It's like, are you Muga's son? The Henry Muga who, oh my goodness, how is he? And so then that opens doors.
Favor.
I hadn't
Changes the
used,
conversation.
I wasn't, trying to use the name or anything, but just because there was a relationship before, it just opens doors. So there is a heritage, right? Yeah. Which is in some cases better than an inheritance, in some cases, not all. If your dad is a thug, please honor them, but you don't have a heritage.
Yeah.
Right? But we're talking inheritance. Inheritance is stuff. It's
tangible things.
It's hardcore stuff. Yeah. Now, this is what the Bible says. It says, a good man leaves an inheritance not for his children, but for his children's children. So Peter, if we are fighting with leaving an inheritance for children, you are bad. Because we're talking, the Bible doesn't say children. It says children's children. In other words, what you leave so covers your children that it actually goes to the next generation. Both grandfathers of mine, my mom's dad and my dad's dad, both left property that's still available. Now, we are grandchildren, and our children still have an inheritance from those assets that they left. Real estate, different properties and stuff like that. That's a good man. Now, in banking or in finance, when someone is referred to as a good man, he says, no. Is that person bankable? That's the question. He says, no, he's good. He's a good man. It means he has assets. He's loaded. He's got a net worth. He's sitting on something, right? So you cannot tell me that you have a plan to live life and not have an inheritance for your children and their children. You have a problem. I would be asking you questions like, why do you hate your children? What did their mother do to you? Stuff like that. Because definitely when you don't want to leave an inheritance for your children, you have issues beyond the children. You hate them for some reason. It's a natural thing that one generation lays up for another. The Bible says fathers lay up for children. In other words, fathers provide for children. They make a way for children, make it easier for the children. That's what fathers do. That's what parents do. Every parent has got this blessing within them, that you live long and that it may be well with you in the land. Yeah. When you say take a gift to your mom, Faizo, or your parents, when you go honor them, right? Say, oh, my child, thank you very much. May God bless you. May everything go well with you. May you live long. That's the parental blessing that every parent has, right? Now, the purpose for inheritance is because every parent desires for the child to get to a higher level, right? I had this from Bill Johnson. He's a pastor of Bethel Church. It's a globally influencing church. It's in Redding, California. And he said that the ceiling, and I talk about this in my book, The Golden Fathering. He says that the ceiling of every generation should be the floor for the next generation. My highest achievement should be where my son and daughter start from. Right? Yep. My dad did the best that he could. We were children who were born in war or in rumors of war. It was very difficult to have stable investments and things like that when we were born. All right? I remember the 79 I was barely 3 years old. I have a funny thing about my memory. I remember things that people don't expect me to remember. But I experienced the Saba. That time when Idi Amin was fleeing out of Uganda, the Tanzania army and Obote and all that, and Museveni coming in that first time. That's when we were born. We grew up with rumors of war, the rebels, the NRA rebels, then Basilio Okelo Lutwa, then Museveni takes over, then Alice Lakwena, then Joseph Kony, then, I remember my dad had got a really good deal. He had some word of cash on him, and he went for that money exchange in 1987, and they cut off 2 zeros, and then they cut off 30% of the balance. It's like if you have 10 million shillings, they cut off 2 zeros.
So
What's
it
that?
becomes,
You have 100,000 and then they cut off 30%. You come back with 70K. You went with Kavera of money and you come back with money that can neatly fit in the pocket.
Yeah.
That's the generation my parents lived in. All right? It wasn't stable. And yes, they made their mistakes. There are things they didn't know, no fault of their own. But at least they gave us an education.
Yeah,
Right?
but-
Let me finish.
Yeah.
They gave us an education. My mom led me to Christ. I have where to start with, okay? But then, I can then not say I'm not going to buy assets, land, build houses and stuff like that because I want my children to suffer like I did. I would like that our kids start from a better footing. They are property owners and things like that. Why? So that they don't have to struggle at the level I struggled. And for me, by children, this is what I mean. I mean both my son and whoever he will marry, and my daughter and whoever she'll get married to. They all will have an inheritance because the children that come from them are my children. And the deal of the Bible is that I leave an inheritance for my children's children. So if my grandchildren can't experience me inheritance-wise, I'm not a good man.
But I'll tell you what, that is very good as textbook stuff. Okay.
Just to say, even as you layer your question,
Yeah.
I just want you to say that everything I've just said is real. I can take you places and show you the inheritances.
Yes. No, I'm not saying that it's
Yeah,
not real, but
just
you
say.
see, you're not the majority. Now,
No.
the issue is here. We don't choose our children.
Yeah.
Okay. And like I said, Jalu said that if your child is a fool, then you're a fool. No, that's just not
No. Listen. Let me try and explain that. Let me explain why you're a fool if your child is a fool.
Yeah.
But the word foolishness is something that is not born. It's something that it's taught or something. Being a fool is not something that you're born with.
Yes, there are people who...
There's stupidity and there's foolishness. There's stupidity and there's foolishness. So I want to pick up from what Chris said, that inheritance should be a base where your children should start from. The problem that we have with children today is that inheritance, the way they view inheritance, is they get it and they're
It
done.
is a lifeline, not a place where
They're
they're
done.
starting.
And that reads into you as a parent. And that's why I say that if your kids are foolish, you are the fool.
No, but you see...
Like, what did you feed
yes,
them?
but you see, the thing is, I'm getting there. And sometimes, and I'll give a lot of the Asian communities, because the Chinese do it, the Vietnamese, the Japanese, the Indians. A lot of the Asian communities have this thing, they bring up their kids in their business. Now, because they have one trade. That is what they do. If they run supermarkets, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So the kids come from school, they work there, they see, they understand, and they grow into it. They also have very strong caveats where the children are told from the get-go, if you mess this business up, we will kill you.
Thank you. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you risk losing your life because you're messing with their lifeline. Now, come to us generally as Africans. And that's why I was talking about textbook stuff. That works when everything is perfect. Now, a lot of us, the rich people we know, are not very clear about how they make their money. Okay. Now, but we cannot judge them. Their mistakes are their mistakes. So your parents are there, they've got this money. All right. They know the risks. Okay. And what they had to risk to get this money. All right. Then they look at you and they say, if we leave it to this chap, we have finished. Because you haven't been also, because the reason why I say you're a fool is because you need to use common sense, and I feed into what you talked about, a stepping stone, and say, all right, so at least I'm not starting from ground zero. You talked about it, I'm able to get a good education. But we see people, there are guys in this city who are sitting and waiting for their parents to die. And are doing absolutely nothing. They're educated, all they do is just hop from bar to bar on a promise, literally shoring up debts, saying, don't worry, okay.
But Peter, who do you blame there?
Yeah.
Who do you blame there?
I think that's why I said the how. Like from childhood, what are you feeding your child?
But he's a fool.
Peter, can I help with something real
already
quick?
don't?
And then I'll just let it slide. Solomon, wisest man who ever lived, also did the most foolish things in the world.
True.
All right? He started with God, and then he slides into all manner of foolishness, marries 700 wives, has 300 concubines, and for most of his wives, he built an altar and a temple to their gods. He just, then he gets back to his senses as just before he passed, as he grew older. And so he writes the book of Ecclesiastes. And that's the book of the teacher. He calls himself the teacher. And he says, I did everything that I desired under the sun. There is nothing that could be done that he did not do. Fill in all the blank spaces. Solomon did everything human beings can do under the sun. And then he says, meaningless. It's all meaningless. Okay? But in there he says what you're actually saying, which is, you work hard for your stuff. So what happens if you leave it for a fool? Space, your son. Okay? So this is what he's saying. If your life is being lived for stuff, if your meaning is coming from the stuff you accumulate, you're living a very miserable life. Takes me back to a conversation we once had about the 5 capitals. Do you see how meaningless it is? Because if you're working for money, and you're stocking up money, and stocking up property, and that's what your whole life is about, then that whole castle is going to come tumbling down because someone is coming and they're going to blow up the money. Because we need to live a life of significance. Here's an interesting thing. If we really think about it, who was the richest man in Uganda 5 years ago? Maybe Sudil 10 years ago, maybe Sudil 30 years ago, we are not sure. 50 years ago, we don't know. 80 years ago, we don't know. 100 years ago, zilch. No one knows the richest man 100 years ago in Uganda. But Sir Apollo Kagwa, Apollo Chivebulaya, all those guys who did things maybe for the gospel, who helped bring them in education, Mutesa One. So people who have lived a life that's beyond themselves and have been significant in how they've lived, have left a heritage, actually live longer. So that's how it makes sense that Bill Gates would say, children, all these billions we are making, we are actually going to give them away, but they're not like throwing them away. There's the Rothschild Foundation. Rothschild lived a long time ago. Bill Gates wants to live longer because the foundation is going to stay with that money and they're going to be helping people for a much longer time globally. So he's looking at significance. 10M is enough for those guys to pay for school fees of their kids and start their own personal businesses, but they're the ones going to manage the foundation.
We do need to get into a break. Now, when we come back, Felicity, we're not done with you yet. We're here at Sangha Courts talking about inheritance. Is it a right? Is it something that you must get just owing to the fact that you are a boy child? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
Men. Men.
Welcome back from the break. We're here at Sangha Courts. Don't forget, this is your show. We want to hear from you. Our hashtag is NTV MEN. Also, our X handle is live and kicking. It's NTV MEN _UG. Follow us and let's get these conversations going. Now, we are talking about inheritance. During the break, unfortunately, and that's why I said I was coming to you, somehow girls seem to manage inheritance better than boys.
Proved by what? Proved by what? You need to quote research. where are you getting
you're
this?
sounding like a certain
No. Where are you getting this from?
Political commentator who says, according to research, and in that exact tone, I'll not mention his name because he's been on this show, that everything is according to research. It is an open secret. Women are better money managers than men. Am I generally?
She's going to speak.
He's a point of reference.
Yes.
Well, naturally we have, it's almost like a nurturing and a sense of responsibility thing that comes with being a lady.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on what?
Based on whether you're the eldest in the family, you are growing as a mother. Like, you're going to nurture your home. If you're the firstborn child, that's how you're seeing your siblings. Actually, that's why so many people say the firstborn girl calls herself the assistant mom, like the assistant parent in the home. Because you're going to nurture everyone. You find yourself taking care of your father like your mother would. You won't find you as a son taking care of your mom like your father would. You notice, you take care of your mom as a son. But as ladies, as a firstborn child, the nurturing thing comes,
okay.
yes, it comes naturally. So the whole essence of taking on the assets and everything, it comes naturally that I'm doing this for everyone. You start to think for everyone compared to the boy child where selfishness can kick in. It's a very rare occurrence to find selfish daughters that are going to cut out their siblings.
Can I chime in? Can I just say something small?
You have
Can I just say
statistics?
something
Yes.
small?
You have numbers?
So let me just say something. The idea behind the inheritance being left to the boy child was this. So women get married and they leave the homestead. That was primarily the reason why the boy child was left the inheritance, because based on that, based on the fact that the boy child will remain in the homestead, he was left the inheritance. Yes, we have seen success stories, and I'll tell you, I come from one where I have siblings who are, my sisters are more like
In touch.
yeah, they're more in touch with what was on the ground, and me, I am.
You're the one who
I'm
inherited the
I'm
man.
pursuing.
Are you a last one?
But you're the one who
No,
inherited
I'm not the
everything.
last one. But I understand, and to be honest, nothing is set on stone, and things have evolved over time. Now we are seeing women, like you said. I don't know where you're basing your research from, but women are better handlers of money. They're better handlers of and I've actually seen them. I'm giving you a personal story, but so yes, but yeah, just go on.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
Yeah.
It's not true that women are better handlers of money. A fool is a fool, male or female, fools.
Yeah.
There's no difference. The thing is that both the boy child and the girl child need to be instructed in ways of money.
Yeah,
Right? So, can I?
Yeah, all right.
All right. So the thing is this. When you earn money and you don't save it, whether you're male or female, you're a fool. Okay? I know guys who don't save, and I know girls who don't save. Two fools, male and female.
Trouble comes when they get married.
Right? Yeah. So I think if we genderize this, we are missing the point.
Okay.
Here's the point. God needs to help us, who are parents, to train our children well so that they can manage money well. Okay? If you so happen to have a son or a daughter who is a fool, carved ball, pray to God that something stays for the next generation. Or be wise about how you structure your inheritance. And I don't know if we're going to talk about this, but I've seen people who are now beginning to look into things like trust funds. So you structure the wealth and say, all you guys will have shares. The businesses, for example, Sam Walton, who I think started, arguably still to this very day, the biggest supermarket in the world, Walmart. Okay? The way he structured the inheritance is that it's the business, and there was no breaking it apart. So I believe his spouse and children all had shares, and they sit on a board. Now, they don't have to get into the management of the little things, but actually, when you check on the billionaire list, constantly his children are there. Someone Walton, they're billionaires.
The richest
But
family
it's
in the world.
because he structured it in such a way that you cannot fragment it, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of what the wisdom I believe that we need to start thinking about here in our part of the world, to say, start a trust fund. My late father-in-law, before he died, was trying to work on that. And an uncle of mine who died recently had been trying to work on that, There seems to be a wisdom that the older generation, older than us, has been tapping into, that maybe our generation needs to start thinking about. That as you're teaching your children, so you asked about the Indians. So the thing is, you've had many questions you've asked, so I'm trying to catch up with some of the stuff you've said. But the way that Indians, Chinese, and others, the Orientals, have done it, because they've been at it for so many years, for hundreds of years, some of them for thousands of years, they're advanced in this thing. So the vehicle they use very well is company. Now, our part of the world, because of how our civilization was structured, company is a new thing that we are trying to learn. Yeah. But you can be able to, if you get a good lawyer, you can be able to put together a trust, right? And lock in the wealth in such a way that it can go from generation to generation, because you can tie it in. Yeah. You can say, look, this is what this trust fund does. Yeah. It will pay fees for all the children that come out of this generation. Each child, this amount of money going all the way down and stuff like that. And so it stays intact. They own it, they grow it, yeah, right? And even if they don't, you have structured it in such a way that it keeps on growing itself. Yes. I think there's some wisdom on the ground that we can...
There is. And because we're reaching that curve towards the end of the show, I want to just ask a question about a will and the importance of a will. Do you have a will?
For what?
Isn't that probably the problem? Because you see, you don't have to wait until you get. And I think that's what a lot of men struggle with. They're saying, I will write a will when I get. Yes, when I'm ready to die. I need to be an old man and all that. Do you believe in wills? Do you think it's a good thing?
I definitely believe in wills. I definitely believe in a format of income distribution. Because you see, when you pass on, you just leave people in a lot of quagga. This is a Ugandan thing. I feel like every time a very, very big person dies, the next thing we're waiting for is the drama of who is going to inherit this, who is going to inherit that, yeah? And I don't know why people don't use wills. I personally don't have a child or a wife yet, yeah? So
why do you say wife and look at Felicity?
I don't have a child or a wife yet. However, I am constantly working to be a better person. Yeah, so that when these people come, I actually have more than just a will to instill. What I'm trying to, and I think this is what I had started the show with. We need to understand that our parents, whose money we want to inherit, also didn't have a cushion. Like they literally just came, hustled, and they made their money.
They winged it.
I even, and you know, Ugandans always keep asking you that thing. So why didn't your parents fight? Yeah. So I want us to continue going away from that bit of we are here to make money and give it to our kids, to that bit of we are here to actually instill values in this next generation. Because it doesn't matter whether you have a trust or a will or how much money. If the people you're leaving these things to are not well versed with handling that property, it will not go anywhere. Whether you have a will, whether you have a trust, what matters is the people you're actually leaving this money or this heritage to. They might either make you proud in your grave or sell off everything.
But when you're in your grave, you're not there. Anyway, guys, we do really need to start wrapping up. So, Jalu, your parting shot.
I really have really jumbled up, with things that I want to say, because we've talked about so many things about this. And I want to read into what Faisal was talking about, wills. As a society, we have not been conditioned to talking about inheritance and wills. It's not part of us. But I want to go back to what I said. If your child is a fool, you're a fool. That is in regard to inheritance. The whole idea of marriage is community and your children. You're giving them a base, a starting point. Now, if you raise these children well, you intentionally direct from when you're doing this with these kids, from the onset, that you know what, and you're taking them to work, they know the facets of what you're doing. It will not be very hard for these kids to pick up from where you left off. The problem is that we make this wealth, and you alluded to this, that some of this is so criminal. So you do not know how to, bring your kids to this, and that is why it is hard. But the idea of it all at the end of the day is to give them a cushion to, like why are you making this wealth? Like, what is the whole purpose of you working at the end of the day? You're doing this for your children. So at the end of the day, you need to be very intentional, even at a very young age. Like, if you have children, like, let them know what you do, and this is how it is done, and these are the values of it. Yeah, that's my parting shot.
All right. Great stuff. Chris will come to you at the end. Felicity, your parting shot.
Well, just like I said, if you want to have a legacy, a family name, you want your bloodline to carry on with a sense of, like a respectable name in society, a sense of order. We're talking about all these families that we admire from Asia. You're talking about the Rothschild, the Bill Gates. If you want to have something of the sort, we have to start with that. Like, you have to create that sense and form of order. If it means teaching them how to make money, do that. If it means setting up a trust fund where they won't touch it till they're 18, if you feel they'll be foolish in their teenage years, do that until they can access it.
40.
Until they can access it. So I feel like if you really want to carry on your legacy, you ought to leave an inheritance for your children, for your children's children, and it's not about turning in your grave, but you'll die a happy man or die a happy woman because you've left a sense of order that will carry on for generations to come. Yeah.
I wish someone could talk about the girl child, by the way.
That would be a nice.
No, like, you can leave your inheritance to your girl child if she's the one that is responsible.
This was that would become a nice show. Faisal.
It's a bit controversial, but your children don't always have to be the inheritors of your wealth. I'll leave it at that, because we've seen a lot of families, and we've seen some very rich men leave these incomes to a nephew or a niece, yeah, because they knew even when they were there, this person has actively been helping. With our situations, it's so sad that we didn't get to talk about the entire topic wholesomely, but your children don't have to be the sole inheritors of that wealth. If you actually know someone who is much more responsible in your family, probably a niece, an uncle, or what do they call it in our tribe? The heir of the clan.
Yeah.
The heir. Because it's predetermined. Like, the entire family, the entire clan knows Faisal is the one going to take over this building. Whether this person dies today or not, it removes all that hassle of, guys, let us fight, let us do. No, you know there's one person who is going to take over all this stuff and help out the entire family at the end. So don't have this thing of, oh my God, my kids are the only people who are supposed to inherit your wealth. No.
First of all, you leave your inheritance to your uncle. In our Uganda.
That's his parting shot. It's his. I wish you good luck with that one, but you know what will happen.
Wow. I have an uncle who passed on maybe 5 years ago, and he had this thing he called, that I call a living will, because he had property, and while he was alive, he showed all the children and said, this is yours. This is yours, that is yours. And in some cases, he had even already transferred the titles of these properties to his children. When he died, it was the cleanest death we've ever handled. No drama, no chaos. He left property for his daughters and his sons. No complaints. I believe in having a living will, because also these secretive wills can be stolen, can be manipulated, can be contested. Okay? So that's one. Two is that there is...
Sorry, just before we go there, isn't the whole secretiveness done to manage people?
No.
Because you don't want guys to start killing each other when they're still alive.
Transparency helps. Number two, I want you to know that if you have no will, the government of Uganda wrote for you a will already. There's a percentage that goes to your wife, whether you like her or not, and a percentage that goes to the children. So if
Both
you don't,
legitimate and
And the
illegitimate.
government.
so if
No,
you
no, the
haven't
government
written a
doesn't.
will,
Yeah.
I just want you to know every Ugandan has a will. It's called the law. Okay? Number 3 is we need to think about, if we really are mindful of what we want to live, to live a life of significance and leave significant descendants on the earth, we need to be able to structure the wealth in such a way that it grows the purpose and the thing we've been fighting to do. And that's why I believe Bill Gates, the guy of Berkshire Hathaway, what's his name? The Oracle of, anyway. So guys, some of the wealthy people, what they've done is that they have either started foundations or have trust or trust funds, if you like. You can purpose your wealth in order for it to continue making sure that your family has influence and significance, but also in a certain direction that you have lived for. There are now ways in which that can be done. Now, I also want to be authentic to say I have not yet put together a trust, okay, as an individual. But I have a living will. All my property is in my wife's names and my names, all of it. Okay?
That's a discussion for another.
That's a discussion for another day. Peter almost jumped off his chair. But we have a living will. Whoever dies first, we know what we are up to. We know who our children are. We know what we said that children should get. So whether I'm around or not, that's not because I also had a very close relative who I honor a lot, so I'm not going to say the details. But the way they structured their will did not have the wife factored in. And it brought so much chaos in that part of the family.
That's selfish.
But there's
So I know for sure that before the children came, they found me and my wife. Now our children are leaving the home. One of them has already gone to university. He may come back to us or not. He's welcome home, but he's under no obligation to come back. The man is now an adult. Our daughter is leaving soon. So they found us together. They are going to leave us together. So you also need to think, is this your property? Are you going to be able to live a good life till you die? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes when you throw it all over and then you live a poor quality life, you die early. I want to live long.
Yes.
Then pass it on. As they also make their money and it's our money. So our kids know what's up. We already discussed it. The family knows we have a living will.
All right, fantastic. Now, we have been discussing about inheritance. Something tells me that we probably will need another show to discuss that, especially about the one of your wife knowing everything. You don't even have that side
Nothing.
quiet.
No. Like, why is she your wife?
We own everything.
Let me tell you one thing.
Why
Things
is she your
happen.
wife, man?
Things happen.
Peter,
Things happen.
you didn't marry her, that's why.
No, she married me instead.
You're saying it on live TV.
That is a show for another day. But there are reasons. Life happens. But on my side, I believe in inheritance. Okay, I believe in leaving a better life for your children's children because that is very important. But I also believe if your child is a fool, they are not entitled to anything. So I believe everybody is meant to add to what is there. You called it a stepping stone. I agree with that. So I cannot sit there and and for those of you who have parents who can leave something for you, don't just be sitting there waiting for them to die. Chris has talked about good quality of life. Those people who've got good quality of life will probably outlive you, and you'll waste your time and your life waiting for them to die. So build yourself. So whatever it is you get is an add-on. And it's a benefit. That's it from us tonight. Have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Do not forget that our hashtag is NTV MEN. And our X account is NTV MEN _UG. Follow us. Let's get this conversation going. Have a good night. Take good care of yourselves. And don't squander that inheritance.